Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into our podcast, Moms on the Move. I'm Jen Wills, and I am here with my new co-host, Jennifer Sisk. So thank you, Jennifer, for officially joining the Moms on the Move podcast.
It's an honor. I'm so excited.
I did want to real quick mention before I introduce the guests that if you are listening, we have an video option on Facebook. We have a landing page called Moms on the Move. It is just the page, and then we also have a moms group on Facebook. So if you want to join that, we have more conversation and information on that group. If you are just listening, we are available on Apple, Amazon, etc. So I just wanted to let everyone know real quick.
YouTube.
At YouTube. Yes. Yep, video too. So there's just different avenues to watch or listen. Now I want to introduce these wonderful, wonderful guests. We have Crystala and Lauren. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Thank you.
We just had the coolest meeting beforehand. Crystala said a great prayer, and we're just super excited to share this informational podcast with you and give you a platform that I think is so necessary right now. So real quick, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Yes. Well, I'm Crystala, and I'm a Native American energy healer and herbalist, and then this is my beautiful friend Lauren.
Hi everyone. Yes, I'm Lauren. I am Lipan Apache on my mom's side, and we have 2 kids, me and my husband, and we're homeschoolers out here, and we own a few businesses in the upstate, and so we stay nice and busy, and that's about it for me.
Yeah.
And Crystala's my very good friend.
So obviously, we were put in touch. If you don't live in a hole, everyone is aware right now of the Gabby Potito case. Everyone knows about it. There's a missing woman. The news has been on this constant news cycle and giving it all the attention. And that was when we were introduced to each other, because we have a mutual friend who said, you have to talk to Lauren. She works for and tries to speak on behalf of missing Indigenous women and girls. So statistically, it's 10 times the amount of...
Yeah, so there was a independent study done back in 2016, and at that time it was 10 times more. More currently, it's closer to 12. So it's getting worse, not better, right now.
And I feel like this is something that people just don't talk about. You don't hear about it. I mean, again, the media kind of hones in on these stories, and then they just go and they go and they go with it. And I never totally understand why certain stories are more important, less important than the others.
More in the headlines.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, it is so obvious, and it seems like they all pick it up at the same time, and that's what, they focus on. But I thought, that was just such a crazy statistic. And they actually, if you looked it up, they called it a crisis and an epidemic.
Correct.
That no one seems to know about.
And we were unaware.
Yeah,
So
fully.
we're just so happy that you're here to be able to educate us and our viewers.
And we're so happy to be here. So I think for the Native American community, the thing that really hit home for us because of the Gabby Potito case was the area that she was missing is an area that is known in the communities as a big area for women to go missing and murdered and lost, and the amount of cases that happen there happen all the time. And so we're saying not only does this happen all over Indian country all the time, but and really Indian country, I mean the whole entire United States. Okay, so I'm originally from Florida. I lived in Arizona. I have heard these stories and know people personally that have a story like this. So I think for us it was I don't understand, basically in the same radius that this other girl is missing, how did this become national news? And there's still people that we run into that literally know nothing about a movement that started 6 years ago. For us. So I feel that kind of brought it up into our hearts as why is this happening? But it also brought out a collective wound that we have, which is that we feel invisible. You know, a lot of other minorities, in parentheses, feel that they are less than, but Native Americans feel like we're invisible. We are romanticized. We lived back in the wild, wild west. We're less than. We're subhuman, and you know, these stories, these ideas. You know, we've got Halloween coming along. You know, we're sexualized, and we're not thought of as a modern day person. And so why would we be in a headline when we don't even exist? So that's
in our
kind
own
of
country.
In our own country, on our own land, exactly. So I think that's what it all brought out. It's not that this girl doesn't deserve to be found
and recognized.
Oh, right, absolutely. I don't think, I think the point of this is to give you, not her less attention, but to give this more attention.
Yeah, exactly.
So going back to that, I know this is super basic, but maybe that's what people need. What does like the modern day, I know you said it was a bougie off the reservation earlier, but what does it look like? I mean, you live in TR, you live downtown Union. I mean, is it completely like a modernized lifestyle? Is there different levels to being in a tribe? Okay. Can you explain that?
I feel like living on the tribe, they don't give us many resources. The reason why we have to live outside of tribes now is because, like, for instance, I'm Ojibwe. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the pipeline, but in Minnesota, they have pumped out, 500 billion gallons of our water on our land. And they have put oil pipelines, and they basically took all of our water, moved it. They say they're going to bring it back, but when they bring it back, we've got all these oil pipelines going through it, and now it's poisoning the water. So it's like, if we were to live on reservations, we're limited resources, and when we do have wonderful resources and we grow wonderful crops and we have pure water, they take it from us, unfortunately. So, and then not only that, you have to worry about, like, when you're living on a reservation, if your children, you know, are going to get kidnapped, if you're going to get kidnapped, if you're going to get justice, because the laws for the United States don't really, like,
There's tribal law, and then there's the United States law.
Right.
So tribal law falls under part of it falls under the tribe, and then the other part falls under the federal government. So the states can only do so much, and the FBI has to come in, or the BIA has to come in.
Right.
So there's this lack of cooperation, and part of it is because of the way that things are just kind of set up for reservations.
Well, as a nation and a country, what do you think we could do? What do you think part of the answer is?
Respecting not the Constitution, but the treaties.
The treaties,
laws.
yeah.
The treaties and the laws that were given to the people a long time ago, because basically they're all being broken. And I guess the lack of awareness is why it's continuing to happen, because the only people that are really fighting for it are Native American people, or the people who, you know, are living in those areas that might not be Native American, but they're on that land. So I feel like just opening the awareness to it and allowing other people to just kind of see our point of view. And I guess it needs more media coverage, of course, but that's not going to happen until more people are aware
of it. Yeah.
And like this show's called Moms on the Move, right? So we're two mothers. So from my point of view, I'm sure from Crystala's point of view, it's like you're talking about these statistics are about me and our children.
Right.
You know, I've got a 6-year-old girl that I have to be hyper vigilant about, because we live in an area where there is a corridor of sex trafficking. You know, 29 and 85 is a big deal. It gets you to I-40, and they're gone. Excuse me. So I have to think about that all the time, and it's not just, you know, a lot of times we think, it's these children, you know, these stories about children, and there are statistics that say what the ages are, but if you listen to the stories, mothers of 5 children are going missing. These are 5 kids that now have no mother to protect them, that have 3 daughters that are now even more open. So it's like one thing leads to the next, to the next, to the next.
Do you think there is an awareness within, like, the sex trafficking community and, like, predators that know that there is this difference in enforcement because there's a communication issue between the tribal law and the jurisdiction?
Yeah, they're professionals. They are aware
so
of
they are
all the
aware of
loopholes.
this.
Yes.
So there needs to be, like, a loophole that's, you know.
Well, and where Crystala's from, the pipeline, I think I saw an article from September that said that 6 people were arrested for sex trafficking because
Women
they
out
have,
there.
because they have like encampments where there's all these men. So the sex traffickers know that there's a market for this. And 2 of those people were directly connected to the pipeline. So it's like, now you're bringing outside forces into an already vulnerable area and making it worse.
There was also another, there was like a crime database, and on that database, there was 5,700, let's just say, I think it was about 5,700, 5,800 reported missing Indigenous women and children.
Right.
And the numbers for the Department of Justice were 116.
Correct. Yes. And that I want to point out that was done in 2016. It was done independently. There's still not a database that's really updating this all the time, other than social media pages where people are posting pictures of their family members, and people that are aware of what's going on can go there and look and see, and listening to Amber Alerts and going searching up the hashtag MMIW, which is for murdered and missing Indigenous women, MMIWG, missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And Crystala and I, we don't have like a huge Native American community here, but we do have social media. So we started a page together that we're trying to manage in the middle of like all the other things that we do, in support of Indigenous women in business. And our hope is that one of these days, maybe when our children are teenagers, it can turn into something that can get donations and give money to people to do this research, because it's not coming from our tax money. It's not coming from anywhere else. All of this stuff is happening on the ground with the people. Even finding bodies, even all of this is done by volunteers that are Native American people that just want to help out their people. So we're trying to do our small part, but every small amount, it means a lot. It means everything. We are less than 2% of the United States population. Okay. So if we put all of our efforts in, it's 2% of us against, or in comparison to everyone else's concerns first.
Right.
And I think also because Native Americans are a sovereign nation, they don't get media attention because they're not considered U.S. citizens as well. Right? I mean, so I'm not sure they were born in the United States, but as far as living on the reservation and being a U.S. citizen, I feel like because of that, they don't get the media coverage as well. And then also, I feel like it's just we gotta come to an agreement on when does the stripping our resources stop, silencing us, we get arrested if we even protest to save our water on our land or to speak up. People weren't even, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of the pipeline, but people are getting thrown in jail. Like you were saying, women are getting, by workers, they're getting, raped, abused, missing from the workers. So I feel like at some point, we've got to hold these pipeline people accountable too, you know, because they wouldn't be able to just get away with it, because it's been happening. This is the third pipeline. This has been happening for a long time, but it's been well known about the pipeline workers since the first pipeline. So this is the third one, and they still aren't doing anything to kind of monitor their workers or hold them accountable for what they're doing.
Right. For some reason, it's kind of like that's their problem, not our problem.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's tragic. And
It is tragic, and I think that what's the most tragic, for me the saddest part of these stories is that I earlier I used the word like we're considered like less subhuman. There's something in the psyche in the storytelling of who we are that kind of allows people to not think of us as human beings, and because of that, when we do find our family members, our mothers, our sisters, our cousins, our best friends, when they are found, they're found brutalized, they're found beaten and tortured and burned to death and cut, and so it's not like, you know, other deaths that like they happen tragically. They happen because, you know, somebody lost their cool and it was a horrible thing, but it was more of an accident. This is done with intent and malice, and that says something about where we need to begin. We need to begin with this with the story of why is this happening? Why are people thinking that it's okay to ignore the situation?
It feels so deeply like there's a missing piece to this. You know, there's a power to the lack of like communication that's going on between the tribal law. There's just like people are able to take advantage, it feels like, of this and not have the repercussions that you normally would.
Right.
It's somehow tolerated.
It's
somehow tolerated.
And again, it's like I don't know what the solution is, but just maybe even giving like people this awareness and more of a voice. I mean, I hope that people are able to listen and hear this, because I didn't know.
Yeah, you need the exposure.
Right.
You need the exposure. When you first came in and we did a prayer, I felt your faith and I felt both of you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. You want me to go ahead?
Yeah.
So I am highly spiritual as far as like just feeling energies, connected with God, as most people, you know as the one and only God. We call him the Great Spirit. Or
Creator.
The Creator.
I like that one.
Yep, the Creator. He made everything. Basically, my faith and belief is that we are all connected. We are all family. We are all one. We might have different faces and all that and come from different places, but we are all connected to this great divine source. And I just feel that with everything that's going on, it's just there's things that are going to happen that are going to try to separate us, but this is where we all come together. We all get stronger. But yeah, I basically, my faith is, and beliefs are, if we stick with what's natural, if we stick with love, if we stick with each other and come together when one person is being, like, for instance, the Native American women. If we come together and we speak out for them as a group, as a collective, I feel that we're going to get a lot further because of that positive energy that's being enforced and put into it, and the love that's going to grow. Because, we love each other. At the end of the day, nobody wants to see anyone be harmed. We don't want to see our African sisters, brothers, Caucasian, Native, it doesn't matter, Asian. But yeah, so I just believe in natural remedies. I believe in the Great Spirit. I believe in love and unity. And
you can
I was about to say, I think it's so interesting because you guys have just such a cool, and I want to say vibe, I don't know the right energy, but like you walk in, there's just like this lightness and pureness about you both. It's just really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
It's beautiful. And we hear you.
Yeah.
It truly is beautiful.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
So the page that you both have, where can people find you? What's the page called?
We have a page on Facebook right now. It's supporting Indigenous business women.
Business women.
Something.
Yeah. Okay. But we do also, she has a separate, business that she does. And, but yeah, it is Indigenous Women Businesses, I believe that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and we just came out with it, so that's
hey, you gotta start somewhere.
Exactly.
It's perfect timing.
And that's like a great example of like spirit talking to us, because it was just like even how I met, the story of how I met Crystala, like it was just like I got this bug in my ear that said I need to ask people if they know any other Native American women. And then I got introduced to her, and as soon as I met her, I was like, this is something. Like, it's the spark. Like, you felt the spark. There was a reason, and I felt like there was an intention. I was led to this relationship, this friendship. And then from there, after knowing each other, I was like, oh, I think we should do this. And then she was like, yes. And then she had all these awesome, great ideas of where we can go with it. And we kind of brainstormed, and we're just doing the best that we can to make things happen step by step. But the day one, like all of this, everything that we're doing, and one of the reasons that I really appreciate and work really well with Crystala is because we're both led with the same mission, the same heart. And all of our guidance is coming from the same place. And, I feel like I said, I have different gifts than she has. And that's great, because that's what makes our collaboration so wonderful.
Yeah. Right.
And being able to have someone that can, be a good friend and support me as a mother. Someone that else is also in business. Someone who, if I can't get back to her in 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 days, understands it's because I've been so busy with my life.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, and we want to be able to create a space like that for other people, where they can come to our page and know that they can get information and relationships with other people like them that understand from their perspective and grow.
Well, thank you, ladies,
You're
so
doing great
much
work.
for coming. It was such a pleasure to meet you, and I hope that people, at least listening, have just like a new awareness.
Right. Oh, they will. I believe it. I believe that there's amazing changes that are going to happen from it. And,
Oh, yes.
yeah. And I believe that women, I believe that it's going to, this is what it takes to finally stop the stuff from continuing to happen.
Yeah. And I'd love to be able to be like, go to my page, and this is where you're going to find the information, and then you can find out about everything I do and blah, blah, blah. But really, the best thing that you can do after this, if you're bored, is to get on TikTok. There are amazing people on there that have taken all of this and made art out of it, and just search the hashtags.
Awesome.
And if you're interested in supporting Indigenous businesses, you want to tell them your main business?
Yes, so up here in the upstate, my husband and I, he's also Native American, by the way, we own Area 8 Computer Consulting, and you can go to area8computers.com for that, the number 8.
Perfect.
Yes. And then my business, mine and my husband's, is Higher Vibrations, LLC. You can find us on Facebook. And basically it is all like natural, herbal, spiritual based. It is a Native American owned business. My husband is African American, so it's Native and African owned.
And you can go on my Linktree if you want. I'll put a link to Crystala's business also. It's Linktree/Apache Magic. Most of my social media is under Apache Magic.
Yep.
Yes.
So I'll go ahead and I'll put your link in there too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you again, ladies, so much. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Please share this podcast and bring awareness to this issue that is obviously very prevalent and going on and needs to be.
Very needed.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks so much for allowing us.
Of course,
Yes,
of course.
thank you.
I also want to thank our sponsors for letting this happen for us. I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. I am grateful to our sponsors, Nest Realty, Parham Smith Archenhold, Blackacre Law. We have Bodyworks, There's
so many.
There's a lot
That's a
now.
good
It's
thing.
great. And then we have 2 lenders, Amanda McCall, Leisa Johnson. So thank you so much for helping, and thank you to Southern Girl Chic for letting us get dressed.
That was fun.
Yeah. But thanks, everybody. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.